All righty, welcome to another episode of the Lockdown Podcast, continuing to pick apart as we do, and we have a lot to get to in a never enough time, it feels like, but we will try to get through it as we do. So, there's a lot going on right now because we obviously were just out of Saturday night's main event, 2 weeks leading into SummerSlam, and it still never feels like there's enough matches for 3 hours each night. But, you know, WWE is going to scoot matches in as they do. Hopefully they have figured out their ticket issue because good golly, the numbers are egregious, and I feel like SummerSlam is going to be Black Tarp Central, and it's going to be the epitome of the year after COVID at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay. That's going to be what SummerSlam is going to look like, unfortunately. And I'm sure they're probably just going to shovel in people, be like, yeah, come for free because we need bodies. And I mean,
that or they'll do those seat filler people.
Probably. Yeah, I mean it's the numbers don't lie. I mean it's all over. I mean you have you have multiple people saying the exact same thing, from I believe it was like WrestlePick or WrestleTix or something like that, saying the numbers were 20,000 roughly each night, and you have a 50,000, 70,000 or something like that stadium. So it's going to be interesting. But like I said, WWE will probably figure out a way to at least masquerade as they have a full stadium, as Michael Cole always says, we're sold out. No, you're not. You're not even sold. So, but I digress. So on Monday, since we're basically on the precipice of this whole Brock Lesnar and Obafemi thing, for SummerSlam with the Hell in a Cell match. Obviously kicked off the show with Brock and Paul Heyman coming out with what turned out to be obviously a bogus, PPO and these bogus cops, because they don't actually have real cops ever. Like ever. There's never law enforcement, with the exception of maybe the actual like the ambulance people, those people are probably legit, but the cops, no. Nope. Not for how far Obafemi throws people.
No.
But yeah, I mean, just another. I don't even know. You can't say it. We don't need a build for this match. Okay, like you've already brought it to the highest level possible, being Hell in a Cell. Like we really don't need too much build. We don't need this back and forth stuff, really. I mean. But I feel like it just kind of gives Obafemi kind of a good crash course in, building up a match, especially to the magnitude that it is. And it seems like it's more for Obafemi to kind of practice, I guess you could say, than it is for Brock. So, So our first match of the night was Io Sky and Roxanne Perez. And in typical fashion, Judgment Day tries to get involved, blah, blah, blah. And obviously, Io Sky still does get the win. And Judgment Day is not looking good. It's just not. It's run its course. And we shared that picture in the group chat about what Judgment Day used to be into what Judgment Day is now.
Yeah.
And it's just because you keep on having more people in the group still doesn't help your case.
No, they don't.
You have Raquel Rodriguez that is a bona fide star by herself. She doesn't need a group. Roxanne Perez was successful by herself, again with no group. Liv and Dom are basically the two people that basically need people around to validate them, because they can't do things on their own. And it's obviously been, obviously it's not, they're not the only ones, right? They're not the only ones that have outside interference help, but like they're just the most annoying.
Yeah.
And I guess, you're doing your job because obviously we're talking about you. So, but yeah, it's I'm still praying on the downfall of Judgment Day sooner rather than later, because the group has so many possibilities of storylines as individuals with other performers and other wrestlers and other superstars, than just being in a group. And then it's like you have this like awkward tension because you see the stuff with Raquel and consistently getting screwed over by Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez helping her. And you have the Roxanne Perez stuff when she was talking to Finn Balor, kind of per his exit, I guess, and him kind of getting in her ear. And so it just needs to go. Just
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. It's run its course. Yeah.
But speaking of running its course, so we get Maxine Dupree, obviously after she basically officially kind of left Alpha Academy to join the Vision with Austin Theory and Logan Paul and Braun Breaker. And this segment basically is, again, it's just a recycled situation. But this was down to happen. And I will say I did like the backstage segment, though, after they were kind of walking out of the ring in the back and everything, and Paul Heyman said something very, very interesting. And he's like, well, good job, every guys. You don't need me, and then just walks away. And basically pointing out that Maxine Dupree is basically doing his job, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Which obviously frees him up to go deal with the Brock Lesnar stuff and pretty much anything else he wants to do, because Paul Heyman could manage just about anybody. But we'll wait and see how that goes. But it's always week to week, man. It is always week to week of if things follow through as you think they should, or things collapse as we know they should. So obviously the week prior, obviously we had the issue between Royce Keys and Jimmy Uso, and obviously led us into a match last week, or this past Monday. Ends in a no contest, which obviously is no real surprise, giving the whole Jacob Fatu and the Usos and LA Knight and just the perfect storm of everything going on, which I'm not mad about it. I think it's good to have someone else feuding with the Usos in the bloodline stuff. But I mean, I think universally, I think we're kind of over the whole bloodline nonsense, in Roman Reigns trying to portray it as it's something different when it's literally just the same bloodline, the same pyramid scheme that is the bloodline. But so we recently obviously seen the downfall of Lyra Valkyria and Bayley's friendship. And so Bayley obviously calls out Lyra Valkyria. Obviously this is, a foreseen thing that I feel like you always kind of see these things coming, right?
Mhm.
Too much of a good thing eventually leads to something. I mean, it's been recycled hundreds of times, this same situation, but Lyra Valkyria literally looks like basically Nikki Cross 2.0. And I don't know how to figure out what they're doing with this. I mean, obviously it's a more brutal Lyra Valkyria. It's a little more I don't give a fuck Lyra Valkyria, which I think we have talked about this before, is that, you know, sometimes people need character changes. They need that switch turned to see what happens. Just because Lyra was obviously the, you know, one of the, I think she was the first Intercontinental champion or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
I think women's
And so, you know, she still wasn't quite over. Even, you know, and her entrance music is a little bit obviously catchy. But I still think, I don't know. I just want to wait and see. You know, and I don't mean to glaze over it, but I mean it's one of those weird stories that they kind of popped up on us, and we're just gonna kind of let it fester for like a good month and really see if maybe this flip of the switch, this heel turn, is better for her, where you're hated but somehow you're loved. But I mean, we needed more heel women, and you know, that's kind of unbalanced right now with a lot of face superstars on both sides essentially. So, you know, we will wait and see as we do. But so like, what do you guys think about the Lyra kind of, I guess, heel turn, I guess?
I like it. I like the whole her looking like a homeless person.
Yeah, that
It reminds me
Yeah.
of Baron Corbin style.
yeah,
Broken whatever he went by.
got it.
Bum ass Corbin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's see what they do with it when she's beyond Bailey, when that story is done. Let's see if there's a turnaround. Like, do they like rebuild her or something along those lines? What would they do with that?
Yeah. Well, and I think it would be good for Lyra to, you know, whatever, she can feud with Bailey, that's fine. But I feel like she needs to like go onto the learning tree of Becky Lynch. And I think that because obviously, you know, Becky Lynch has toed the line more times than we can count. And I think that developing Lyra having a chip on her shoulder will definitely help us make that heel turn more believable. But yeah, and again, it's again, this is still a fresh situation, so you know, we just kind of wait and see and how it plays out. So our next match of the night was the gauntlet match for the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. And I swear, when they do these gauntlet matches, it's not a random draw. Okay. Like
No, it's
nothing
not.
WWE does is roulette, spin the wheel, any of that is it's what they want it to be, masqueraded as the, you know, the perception that it's random. It's not.
Yep.
But obviously we kicked off the first match with Dominic and Joe Hendry, which, you know, Joe Hendry's definitely a guy they brought up, and now he's pretty much getting buried. Even though he's way over with the fans. But yeah, so obviously with the help of JD McDonough, obviously Dominic gets the win. And then we had Javon Evans come in to the match, and JD again tried to interrupt. But good old Danhausen was there to save the day, as it were, and obviously Javon Evans obviously ends up moving on. Then we get Javon Evans versus Dragon Lee. Obviously, then Dragon Lee takes the L. Javon moves on to Rusev. Obviously, then Rusev wins against Javon with the accolade, followed by Chad Gable and Rusev being the final competitors. And you can't doubt the strength of Chad Gable. Like,
Dude, just jacked.
I mean, yeah, he obviously put his reps in, obviously, when, during his, transformation, I guess. But, I mean, the dude is like 5'6", 5'8", maybe. I mean, but it's like his finisher with kind of the slow German suplex, like that's a lot. like that's a lot to hold that and slowly go back with it. But we obviously ended up getting to see Chad Gable move on, and then ends up facing Ethan Page, and then obviously beats Ethan Page. So now we get Penta versus Chad Gable, and I'm all for this. I think honestly, if Penta's going to lose his IC title, which I don't want him to, I kind of want to let him cook, let him really just start getting competitors from all over the place, and getting some good 5-star matches in. But if he's going to lose to anybody, I'm good with it being Chad Gable. But that's a wait and see situation, obviously, at SummerSlam, which again I'm not mad about. So I look forward to what that becomes. I will glaze over the end of the night because it is the cliche of all cliches, the trope of all tropes, a good old fashioned contract signing
Mm,
between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Well, we all know what happens anyways 98% of the time, so let's just move on to SmackDown because it's not worth me giving time to talk about something that happens every time. And speaking of things that happen every time, so we get Gunther kicking off the show, being Mr. McPissed off as he is, obviously end up being confronted by Cody Rhodes. Go figure. But yeah. So we get our first match of the night, which was Finn Balor versus Tala Tonga. And this is again one of those, it's not logical, but like Finn Balor gets the win, right? But it's like, what is it with them having these larger than life wrestlers basically be made of glass? Like Tala Tonga's a whole mountain of a man, and he's getting beat by Finn Balor. And not that I'm mad about Finn Balor winning, because obviously we're very outspoken about being fans
well,
of Finn Balor.
if you remember Finn Balor's mantra, which is an extraordinary man doing extraordinary things. If anyone was going to beat Tala Tonga, it should have been Finn Balor. Maybe this is coming in for a major push for Finn Balor. Um, Either way,
Let's
it
say it
might also,
might be.
yeah, it might also be like um, we see the departure of the Tongans. Tama and Tala.
Well,
You know,
I mean, I think
They've
that's a foreseeable thing, honestly. I
let's
think
say
if
Finn Balor over there, who was the part of the Bullet Club, the leader of the Bullet Club,
yeah,
and the other two were part of it too.
yeah, I mean it's definitely looking like a slow departure. Um, as far as the MFTs goes. I mean, because obviously you have Solo kind of breaking off, I guess, from the group, or getting basically kind of left at the altar, I guess. But I mean, I think that there's more for Solo to do by himself than it is with a group. I think he has, he has the wrestling IQ, he has the experience, he has the veterans, in his back pocket. So I think that I'm good with this. I'm good with these groups dismantling. And if they're gonna get rid of JC Mateo and uh, Talatunga or Tama, whatever, one of them. If they're getting rid of those, they might as well get rid of the rest. And that's not a knock on them. Like, I mean, they ran their course. They did what they needed to do as far as storylines, and now we're bringing back the bloodline, and so they're going to kind of, I guess, fizzle into the abyss. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're on the chopping block, in the next couple months before the end of the year, but we shall see. So our next match we had was for the women's interim whatever ladder match, blah blah blah, because apparently the injury to Rhea Ripley is going to be basically out for a hot minute. I don't know what they mean. I mean, I know what interim means, but like why don't they just call it what it is and just vacate the title and then just say what it should be, not interim or anything like that.
I think it's a move to like what AEW has done, and also what UFC has done. They're going to be athlete is injured, instead of stripping them and having that, which could have been fine. They are going to do an interim thing so they can have another story in their pocket. So again, it is what it is. I'm not like
Yeah, I mean it's basically going to develop into when she gets back, then they're going to have they basically are just putting a placeholder.
Yeah, they're gonna have those two fight each other and find out who's the real champion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I think it's like it is what it is. I mean,
it's kind of like what they did with when CM Punk walked out with the WWE Championship, and they had to have John Cena or whatever win the title against Rey Mysterio. Then CM Punk came out, and then they both had to put the titles on the line to find out who's the actual champion.
Yeah, I mean it's
kind of like that, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm okay with that. It's just like let it be what it is. And I mean, how many times, literally in the last 10 years, just in the last 10 years, how many times has a wrestler relinquished their title due to injury? It's happened plenty of times, and it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, this whole story. Like, no, it is what it is. But to basically not just because she's injured and then kind of basically pivot to basically do something in the meantime. Like if they want to have her come back and get a title shot, then go for it. But I just think the interim thing is just silly. I mean, Naomi got pregnant and left. I mean,
yeah,
Becky, whatever her name is, who's out now, pregnant too.
Yeah, I mean, Bianca was. Everybody's done it. Everybody's done it. Why? Yeah, but I get what you're saying, though. I mean, it is what it is. It's essentially the same thing without saying it. But so we get the first qualifier match for that in between Tiffany Stratton and Jacy Jayne. And why do they put current champions again in these matches? Why are they there when they already don't do anything with their current title? Right? They did this crap with Liv Morgan. They've done this crap on essentially numerous occasions. It's like, the champion that has nothing going on, so you just put them in something else. Like, then what's the purpose of them holding the title, right? The first time Liv Morgan's going to defend her title is after 3.5 months of her winning the title. 3.5 months. That's like 15, 16, 17, 18. That's probably 17 Raws. 17 SmackDowns. Like, and you've just done nothing with it, but you put her in Queen of the Ring. Like, is your creative that not creative that this is what you do? Like, I mean, does it make any sense to put current champions, even if they're the secondary title, into these matches? And obviously I know that like the roster isn't quite huge because they keep on fucking releasing people or asking them to pay pay cuts, but like what are your guys' thoughts on like them putting current champion secondary or the actual champion like in any of these matches?
Me personally, I don't like it. I don't think there's no reason for them to be in it. They should be sitting on the outskirts, watching these other women fight for the opportunity to take them on. It shouldn't be them being in there and taking the spotlight from some of these new upcoming superstars who are trying to make a name for themselves in the company. No, I think they should just sit in the back, watch it on the TV monitor, whatever the hell they watch it on in the back, sit there and watch these new talent and like say, hey, I want to fight that person. That person looks like that might be a good match.
Yeah.
And they got the star power. I would love to fight them and put the spotlight on them to show what they can actually do.
Yeah.
There was no, like, following up with what Tim is saying, there's no clear story of why a current champion would be in a tournament. And that's an error that creative has. They didn't build that up. Like we had talked about it on previous podcasts. You've got to creatives got to have a full circle, or at least have like hints to what they're alluding to, or what they want you, the conclusion that they want you to make when you're watching it. And I think that was a failure. But to like what Tim says, it's like, yeah, a champion should be on the outside looking into the tournament and wanting to find out who their challenger is, whether it's a heel champion or a face champion or something in between. The only time a champion I think should be in a tournament is if your women's division or men's division sucks. There's a lot of injuries, there's been releases, et cetera, and you gotta have a body in there, and then you can tell that story. But just like trying to wrap your head around why Liv was in any of these tournaments to begin with is kind of weird, because they didn't give a reason for her. And if they did give a reason, it totally was missed by like either the casual or like the fan who's looking at the stories and trying to see what makes sense. Or just following their favorite character.
Agree.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, and if they already have a defined winner, why can't you fill the card with just anything? Like you get some of these matches and you're like, yeah, I kind of gather who's going to win, right? You're like, okay, I know like the popularity of this person is very, pretty good odds, right? But it's like, again, they keep on whittling their roster lower and lower, where to the point where like we might as well not even have women's secondary titles because they don't have the roster. And it's like, you're too busy lining your pockets as the guy sitting in offices, and you're exhausting the talent that's there because there barely is any. Why wouldn't you want to invest in the people that are actually making you money? Like, you're going to go give yourself $300 million to what? To what? Just because you buy the company, so then you just sit yourself with a big salary, and then you give yourself raises. And I think Nick Khan got a raise. And I mean, like, all these people got raises, and then they're asking talent to take pay cuts. Like, that's, I mean, we've said this about 1,000,000 times, but this is it's a problem. Like what are you going to do with all that money? What are you doing with that much money, right? Like,
Not a damn thing.
You know, and it's just stupid. You already have a limited amount of anybody to choose from. The roster is probably 50 people. Maybe. Like, in the realest sense. You know, and it's like, and then you're having some of your other roster, like a Natalya or whatever, going and now she's going and doing stuff in NXT with some group or whatever, and it's like you're pissing away. Like, they've always pissed away Natalya. Like, sidebar.
Since she's a good wrestler, I don't know why they're doing this shit.
You know, and so it's just like how do you, like, and the thing is, fans are stupid enough to pay for these stupid ticket prices, so they're just going to do what they want because they know people are going to pay. And it's up to the WWE fans to be like, yeah, no. And honestly, I really, really, really hope SummerSlam is a dud, and then they can get a fucking reality check.
God damn people.
And so, like, I just think that they need to see that the problem is real, but they're gonna probably give out tickets for $10 just so they can fill the stadium, you know. And it's just, I would love for someone to look up the actual size of the active roster for Raw and SmackDown, included, both of them together, because it can't be that much. Because the men's are running the same people. The tag team division is very bleak. They don't do a lot with, you know, the men's tag team championships, like either of them. I think they need to go back to combine them and let things play out. But to have separate ones is just, it's not.
I think
there's not enough.
Fucking that up.
Yeah.
You know, the women's need to go down to just an Intercontinental or just a U.S. title, because you can't have these titles and then just have them linger because you don't have anything for the storyline. Why have them then?
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. It's like they're just championships that just pretty much sitting there collecting dust.
Yeah. I mean,
being used.
Yeah, I mean, and we sat here 6 months ago bitching about how Jade Cargill hasn't done anything with her title, but sadly, and this is me saying sadly, this is what I'm saying in the saddest way, is that at least Jade Cargill had like 2, even if they were kind of dud squash matches, but she had 2 matches before her big match when she lost it. Like, and Liv's done nothing. Anyways, back on track. We will make a swerve over to. But so the next match we had of the night was Jade Cargill versus Nia Jax, obviously ending in a disqualification. Obviously next week we're going to see, or I guess this week, we're going to see Nia Jax versus Charlotte Flair for a spot in that ladder match. But right now we have Jade Cargill and we have Tiffany Stratton in this fatal 5-way ladder match. We talked a little bit beforehand about anybody. Maybe we get a 6th person, but like, God, we barely have 5. So like, yeah. And so the next match of the night we had was War Raiders versus Fraxium, and man, like, low-key best match of the night without missing a beat. Like, it is insane the athletic ability, you know, of the War Raiders, you know, obviously especially Ivar being a large man doing things that large men should not do.
That is so true.
And honestly, it was a banger of a match, man. There was a lot of oohs, a lot of ahs, a lot of anything. And man, I mean, their titles were on the line because obviously they're the AAA tag team champions, which is kind of weird, but I guess whatever, man. As long as War Raiders get some shine, I'm okay with it. But yeah, so obviously Waters end up winning this match, but man, definitely a banger. So our match of the evening ended up being just stupid nonsense. And we all knew what was going to be the outcome, but we basically, so for Saturday night's main event, we ended up obviously getting it being Gunther and Sami Zayn versus CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. And if Sami Zayn and Gunther win, they're in the picture. But so before that though, we last night we had this whole debacle, and so we ended up getting Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. I don't know why. But I mean, we all knew that shit was gonna hit the fan. Obviously, ended in no contest. Everyone gets in the ring all willy nilly as they do, because WWE is fucking predictable. You could be a casual fan and pretty much figure out what's gonna happen.
Yep.
So over to Saturday night's main event, and we had on the opening, we had on the kickoff show. We had Trick Williams versus Laredo Del Kid. Man, the good match. I mean, it was a good way to honestly be a kickoff match, but yeah, it's they have. I don't know how deep the women's division is in AAA, but man, they could bring some of those.
I was say the women's over in AAA are pretty good. They got really great talent over there.
Yeah, bring them over, man.
Some of those women could do better moves than some of the women in WWE.
Yeah, and so I think, yeah, definitely. Again, there's more to draw from. Like they own AAA, they own TNA. Like let's do some crossover. Let's get some different eyes on the product. I mean,
I agree.
but
put eyes on WWE, we'll put eyes on their product.
Yeah, I mean, rising tide lifts all ships. So, but so our next match of the night was Fatal Influence versus and Fallon Henley and Laney Reed versus Brie Bella and Paige. And I could have obviously I knew there was gonna be tomfoolery in this match. Wasn't actually as much as I thought it would be, but we obviously see Fatal Influence defeat Paige and Brie Bella. Oh, yeah, we're finally over that nostalgic run, and put it on actual tag team wrestling, because it's to the point now where they're just throwing two random men or women together and calling them a tag team. So it's nice to see, obviously, JC Jane kind of being the forefront of the group. Obviously, Laney Reed and Fallon Henley obviously being kind of the henchmen. Obviously, so I'm just really wondering when they're gonna do something with JC Jane, as far as are we gonna get some contender matches for championships? Maybe she ends up in the ladder match. I'd be game for that. And again, even if she doesn't win, I'm okay with that. But I feel like, they need to start recognizing the younger talent and doing something with them. But yeah, man, I'm so happy we're done with Paige and Brie Bella. Like, Brie Bella, go home. Paige, let's see you rock out.
Okay. So getting back to the total number of people on WWE's roster, give or take I would say about 10 duplicates of how they listed the champions on Wikipedia. We're talking roughly 230 people between all WWE brands, minus the majority of AAA, but including Evolve and that program, and who's been injured. So injuries, we're looking at about 15 injuries, but spoiler alert, somebody came back on Saturday night's main event over the weekend. And then that's just in ring talent, not including referees, not including everybody from play, not including the announcers or anything else. So you
Yeah.
have 200, let's just say 200 plus performers that WWE at any given time could assign on their major broadcasts, which is NXT, SmackDown, and Raw, that they can choose from to interject. And
The thing is too is that they're doing more integration in NXT as far as AAA kind of eking its way in. This with a little bit of AAA stuff, a little bit of TNA stuff. There's a lot of things that are kind of in the rumor phase, I guess you could say. In regards to, I believe it's Mike Santana from TNA, that I believe his contract is up pretty soon here, and I would love to see him just to go straight to main roster. Don't do no NXT BS. And if you don't know who Mike Santana is, but yeah, I mean, so I think that they've already done quite a bit of a moving process between NXT call-ups and obviously kind of evolve, kind of eking its way into NXT, but there's still more work to be done. I mean, NXT is fine no matter who's there. So, I honestly, I want to see Tony D'Angelo get to the main roster. You obviously had you had Oba come up, you had Ethan Page come up, you had Ricky Saints come up, and so so there's a plethora. So if you got 200, I mean, you could shake things around a little bit, and obviously like the Evolver, obviously you're not going to really jockey them too much in regards to going from Evolve to like NXT, but I mean, NXT has good shows every week, and so because Nakuru just basically recently came up, to NXT and everything, and he's feuding with obviously Tony D'Angelo, and I would say it would be a pretty good bet as if Nakuru beats Tony D'Angelo. I believe it's at Heatwave, I believe. That I wouldn't put it past to have Tony D'Angelo come up. And
It'll
obviously
be a good call up.
Yeah, and since obviously his breakup of the D'Angelo family, everybody kind of going their separate ways. I would see, obviously with his new character, his new gimmick and everything, I feel like it would be a good addition. But my only conundrum, and I think this is like the $1 million question, is what the fuck is going on with the John Cena Classic?
Not a damn thing, because we can't see it.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. We can't literally see anything. And so how do they have NXT stars versus main roster when they're already calling up NXT like in the same breath that they talked about the John Cena Classic? I hope the idea just kind of fizzles. I hope the idea fizzles like John Cena stepping away from the ring to do Hollywood. And then we'll just forget about it. And then if it comes back down the road, cool. If it doesn't, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So our next match at Saturday night's main event was the one, the only Danhausen versus JD McDonough. And man, this match was entertaining. I think Danhausen doesn't have to be the best wrestler to absolutely bring out the entertainment aspect of professional wrestling. You obviously had Dominic basically try to get involved because it was a no disqualification match. And if you've ever watched any no disqualification match, you know how it goes. And so it was exciting. We got to see Carl Anthony Townsend come out to help out Danhausen, and man, he's a tall dude.
Yep.
Like he
Very
he
tall
be,
dude.
he stepped over the ring like it was freaking like it was Great Khali. And man, like I love this for New York more than I care about this for WWE, but I think obviously Danhausen being basically the New York's favorite son, pun intended. But and so like I thought this was kind of a full like a kind of a full circle moment, a fun moment. Obviously, they're going to protect Danhausen because he's
Yeah.
the New York Knicks' favorite son. So like, but yeah, so it was exciting, it was entertaining. Danhausen finisher is kind of a dud, but I mean, all's well that ends okay as long as Judgment Day loses. So, and Dominic went through a table, and JD McDonough got the L, and all is well in New York. So, so the next match we had was Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley, and man, I don't know what they're calling Lyra's. Maybe it's her new submission finisher, but man, it's believable. Like she basically underhooks the chin basically and like bends it back. But man, it was exciting to see kind of Lyra just kind of let it rip and just do something out of the ordinary from her previous persona, her previous character, and just a give no fucks kind of style of wrestling. And I believe, Tim, you said it was Bayley's last match. I don't know if
That's just the rumors, but I'm not 100% sure. But I hear it was her last match.
Yeah. Well, if anything, we know about hearing things online is we'll believe it when we see it. So
Yeah.
So we had the main event of Saturday night's main event being undisputed champion CM Punk and Cody Rhodes versus Gunther and Sami Zayn, and the match was pretty decent. I would probably go on the range of like a B plus maybe, but I mean the ending was the chef's kiss though. Basically after the ref getting pummeled out, obviously Gunther hits, I believe it was Cody with the belt, and basically kind of doing Gunther things. But as they finally get a referee in the ring and goes to count, and the only Nick Aldis pulls the referee out and ends up hitting Gunther with the championship belt. CM Punk gives him a GTS, and Cody gets lopped on top of him for the win. And now, man, we finally get to see Gunther versus Nick Aldis. I am absolutely oh man, it's gonna be good.
What's going to be a great match?
Because people don't understand like that Nick Aldis he was a wrestler. It's not like he's not ready.
Good wrestler.
So and he's actually younger than most of the top talent in WWE. Fun fact. I know he looks more distinguished and he looks older, but he's like 38, 39. Like me and him aren't much different in age. So it's
I'm gonna look his age up.
Yeah, because I think we looked at it last. I think it was like, I think he's like 38 or 39.
39.
Yeah. So
he just turned 39 this year.
Yeah. So yeah. So I
a year older than me.
So I can't wait for Nick Aldis to be unleashed. And like my one thing is like my thought process is like, what's he gonna come out in ring gear? like, like, does he have something for us? Like, is this like can be some like cool surprise? Like, he's gonna like walk out in a suit or something and
Then rip it.
and
Like,
rip it like a stripper.
probably.
Hey,
No, I think
the
he
ladies
was.
would love it.
I think he was doing like a real traditional, like wrestler's uniform. It's either tights with the superhero underwear and a robe, or it was a robe and the superhero underwear. I don't know. I don't know what he last wore for the NWA.
Hopefully he has some sweet ass music.
Yeah, he was just wearing. Yeah, they're more like boxer briefs type stuff. Um, yeah, so I don't know what he would rock. Um, oh, he also has like long tights as well,
Hey, as I
elbow
say,
pads.
usually came out with tights.
Yeah, it depends on what he's gonna try to like do, But yeah, let's see, Nick Aldis versus I think he wrestled Cody Rhodes, um, at one particular time. Um, yeah, yeah. I think he's gonna go with tights. I think he's gonna go with tights, and it might be some type of British or Australian type jacket or something like that. Um, yeah, I would be, yeah. That's gonna be the only match that I'm like relatively interested in. Um,
Yeah.
outside of that, I don't
Well,
see.
yeah,
anything else.
it's a fun mystery, because it's like what music is gonna come out to, like, so that there's a lot of unknown questions that will only be answered at SummerSlam, and I'm here for it. I this is a shakeup that something different we needed to see because we've seen wrestlers mess with GMs for forever. Okay, all the way back to the mystery Raw general manager. Okay, on a laptop. All right, like people have had like wrestlers would had their quarrels with management, for the existence of the company. So I think this is a good switch up. I don't care where they put this in the night. I'm actually excited for it. So
Me
now,
too.
so the show basically ends with Roman Reigns and Jalen Brunson, obviously the Finals MVP. And not mad about it, man. It was for like this segment was not something they would have done if New York wouldn't have won, right?
Yeah, they would have whoever would have won. That's what WWE would have been. Yeah. I think they were playing. Who were they playing? I think it was the Thunder, Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah. So
So
but I mean, again, this was just a segment. Literally, I mean, it was a mild build up, more build for the Seth Rollins and Roman's match, but this was kind of more about giving back to New York. I thought it was a good segment. I would have loved to see Jalen Brunson at least talk, but he kind of just was there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the custom belt's sick though.
Oh, it
like,
was.
like he's got his own custom side plates, like in the custom wrap. I mean, like Roman's like, yeah, I got some pull around here. Like, I'm like, yeah, no shit, you do. But yeah, obviously, a small bit of, give back to New York. And so as of now, our our SummerSlam match card, obviously in no specific order. We have the World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. We have the Undisputed Championship between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. We have Io Sky to challenge Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. and then we're still building up the interim women's championship ladder match. We have the Obafemi versus Brock Hell in a Cell, Intercontinental Championship Penta versus Chad Gable, and of course the Gunther versus Nick Aldis, and then the absolute weird pairing of LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, and Royce Keys versus Jacob Fatu and the Usos. And this is another one I'm looking forward to because it's one of those situations that people talk about, but a lot of people don't act on, is that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? Yeah. And I think this is good for Royce Keys. I think this is good for Solo Sikoa. I think it's phenomenal for LA Knight, and so it's like, we've kind of been watching Royce Keys very seldomly get any kind of shine, even though he's an absolute star. And so, you know what? Interject him in bloodline business, dude. I'm good with that. And obviously, Solo Sikoa was kind of floundering after, so I think this is good for him. And again, this is a, rising tide lifts all ships. So this is another match I'm going to look forward to because, the looming question of the whole 6 men is that where does loyalty lie? Do you get a Royce Keys or Solo turn on their team, or do you see Jacob Fatu turn on his team? There's a lot of possibilities of sways in this match.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, I'm definitely here for it. But yeah, so I mean, we will put a pin in this as we do. And, we'll play the wait and see game again as we do, because that's all we can do. Because rumors are only exciting when they become truth. So we will, again, wait, see, bada bing, bada boom. This is the Lockdown Podcast. Peace.